diminished scale in your blues playing. And I think this is really cool because adding the diminished scale to your blues playing, it adds tension and release, and it also makes you sound more sophisticated, which is pretty cool too. So hopefully you're having a really good Sunday, enjoying your weekend, and we'll get right to it. I have a little progression, and it's basically just a blues progression in the key of A. It's a 12-bar blues, and I have a little loop going so I could show you this scale over the progression. So it's in the key of A, like I mentioned, and basically sounds like this. Let's get her going. All right, so it basically sounds like that. So hopefully, if you enjoy any of this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I go live every week, every Sunday here at 1 o'clock. So where you can add this diminished scale in your blues progression is right on the, I'll count out the measures. So you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, right there, before the turnaround, for the 5. You have another one right here on the 6. The 7. You have the 9. Another place would be on the 10th bar. 11. All right, so those are the places where you could play the blues. I mean the harmonic. Not harmonic. The diminished scale. Hello, Ozman. Everything's going good. Everything's great. Give you a round of applause. We're just playing a little diminished in our blues here. So the diminished scale, by the way, it looks like this. I'll put on this other camera. You can see it right here. And actually, let me get a little bit of a closer up shot. I should have said that earlier. Okay. There you go, that's better. All right. Yeah, I did check out Mark Zabel. I do recognize him. Familiar with his work. Very, very cool stuff. So we'll talk about him in a minute, but I want to show you right now this diminished scale. Basically, the diminished scale is a system. It's a symmetrical scale because it's a whole step, half step, whole step, half step. It's exactly the same. Like the regular diminished scale, say if you have the open A string. You have a whole step, then a half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half. So it's all symmetrical. It's all the same. Whole, half, whole, half, whole, half, whole, half, whole, half, whole, half. So if you take it from this position right here, say you're in an A pentatonic position. In the same position, you could play the diminished scale right there within this pattern. So you have the A, you have a whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So there's 8 notes in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then the root again. That would be the normal diminished scale. Okay? That's diminished chord. So if you think of the intervals, you have a second, you have a minor third, a fourth, a flat 5, a minor 6th, a major 6th, and a major 7th. Just like that. But in this blues, we're basically gonna do, instead of a whole half, like that, we're gonna do a half whole. So it's basically just taking the whole thing that we just talked about and shifting it up a half step. So now you have this, instead of playing it like this, you play it like this. So it's the same thing, only up a half step. So now you have from the A, you have a half step, you have a flat 9 or flat 2 right here. You have the minor, a regular second. You have a major third. You have a sharp 4. You have a 5th, a major 6th, and a 7th, dominant 7th. So it really fits within the blues within an A7 chord. We have the root, you have the third, you have the 5th, and the 7th. Then you have all those altered notes around it to add to it. All right. So you with me so far? Hopefully you're enjoying this. Give you a round of applause. There I am. We're back. All right. So now as far as adding it into the blues, you could play the minor pentatonic scale. And then right before the 4 chord, like a bar before, you could play the A sharp diminished, which is what we just talked about. And so here's an A sharp diminished chord. Very simple way of playing it. Right, I'll show you a little closer up. Even though I'm starting on the A here, the A note, still A sharp because I have an A sharp right here. I mean, actually, this is the G note, sorry. There's no A in the A sharp diminished. Johnny Distortion. I would better understand, let's see. I would better understand your gently appreciated knowledge if you instead played the handsome SG. You know what? I would play the handsome SG today, but both of those guitars are tuned down a half step right now for another project I'm doing. So they're tuned down to E flat, where this is the only one I have right now tuned in regular E. So, which is kind of a bummer today because I was gonna use them, but for the purposes of this, we have to stick with the tele today. But thank you, Johnny Distortion. Okay, so we got we're in the key of A blues, but before we go to the 4 chord, we're gonna play an A sharp diminished. And there's an easy position for that right here. So you're already in the A pentatonic. Right? Everyone knows. But if you just play it right here, the diminished, you have this position right here. You have a... It's really simple. That's an A sharp diminished scale right there. Starting on the G, here's the A A sharp. So it's a symmetrical pattern where you're going a whole step, half step, then the next string, you're going a half step, whole step, and the next step you're going a whole step, half step, next string, half step, whole step. So you have pretty easy pattern right here. 1, 3, 4. Then the next string you have 1, 2, 4. The next string you have 1, 3, 4. The next string you have 1, 2, 4. And it leads right into the 4 chord pretty smoothly. So you have a right into the 4 chord. Okay, let's try the beginning of that part and see how it lands into it. Check it out. Right here. Into the 4 chord. Alright. I'll get out of that. Okay, so hopefully you got that so far. Hopefully you're with me. Give you a round of applause. So the next place we could add it would be after the 4 chord. Going back into the 1. So right there, basically you're on your D chord, and you play D sharp diminished scale right there, which is the same as right here as a like an F sharp diminished, if you wanted to play it in the same pattern. So like we played before, this position, you just go down a half step, do the same thing. And it leads right to the 1. So then when you go to the 5 chord, you can play that again. D sharp diminished. Right to the root. Excuse me. So I'm going to play just the diminished chords over this progression. Let's see what it sounds like here. Check this out. Check it out. That's where you'd play it. Going into this chord. Into the 4. And again right here. Back into the 1. Here's the 5. Once again. It sounds weird playing the chord over it, but that's where the tension comes from. Seriously, 1. So hopefully you're enjoying that, even though it's not my SG. All right. So, adding a little diminished to our music here. So we'll play the 1 chord. Play the minor pentatonic scale. And on the 4th bar, I'm going to go ahead and play a little diminished run. And slide right into, this is a leading tone right into the note. Hello, David Belcher. Good morning, good afternoon. Give you a round of applause. Hopefully you're having a great Sunday and all caffeined up. All right. So it's a nice way to move from the 1 chord to the 4 chord. A little arpeggio like this. You could play that in an arpeggio form too. It looks like this. Instead of playing the scale, it plays arpeggio. Instead of playing the scale. This one, when you play the A or the basically in the diminished scale, every note makes its own arpeggio. Really, either have a G flat, or you have a C diminished, or have an E flat diminished, or an A diminished. Goes back to the 1. So if you're enjoying this video, please tap the like button, hammer on the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, all that groovy stuff. So let's go through it once using just the scale form and see what we can get out of it. All right. Here we go. 2, 3, on 4. You go to the 5 chord. One, 2, 3. Let's do arpeggio one. Get the 1. Any questions about any of this stuff? Let me know. I go live every Sunday at 1 o'clock. So if you have any ideas as far as what type of lessons, what kind of theory, any type of songs or solos, let me know. Let me know in the chats or let me know in the comment section. Every Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on Cherry Band page. So come back, visit me. Let me know what you'd like to go over, chat about. So, all right. Definitely hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. So, seems to be pretty good. David Belcher. Hopefully you're enjoying your Sunday. Thanks for spending some time here with me. Today, on Sunday, I love doing this. Love playing guitar. It's my favorite things to do. One of my favorite things to do, if not the most favorite. All right, so I think I went over everything. Keeping it real simple today. Keep it short and sweet. So, all going good. Let's see, what else did I want to mention here about this? The beautiful thing about this being symmetrical is that you could, everything we're playing right here, this position, you can move it up four half steps, or a minor third, and do the exact same thing. Move it up a minor third or 4 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do the same thing. Same thing up here. Come up with all kinds of cool patterns too, like that arpeggio I was doing. Do it up here. Oops. Or you do the chords like this. And it still leads to where you're going. So if I was playing the diminish and I went, it leads nicely to the 4 chord. Because that's what they are. It's tension leading to the next chord, like this. I'll show you. You would have the 5 chord. So that leads, it's kind of like leading to the next chord. You have that, it's like tension. That's what I'm looking for. Tension and release. Having that. Which you would normally not play. Go into the 4 chord. And then while the bass player, rhythm guitar player is playing a D, and you hit this diminished chord over the D. The tension that it has just wants to resolve. And over the 5 chord, and back to the 4. which I'm still going to hit this on the D chord. I'm still going to hit that diminished chord. D sharp diminished. All right. So hopefully you're getting something out of this today, and utilize some of this diminished stuff in your blues playing. Keep it real simple too. I mean, do a pass with just the A minor pentatonic scale, and then we'll do a pass adding diminished in there. Let's see what it does. One more time around. Ritesh, have you changed your schedule for streaming? No, it's 1 o'clock. I thought it was live 1:30. There we go. Well, I think it's 1:31 right now. I go live at 1 o'clock Eastern time, unless I'm crazy, which I think I am. 1 o'clock every Sunday Eastern time. So have you changed your schedule for streaming? No. So I thought it was 1:30. I thought you were live at 1:30. There we go. 1:30. No, it's 1 o'clock Eastern time. And so sorry if you came in late. And but I'm basically playing a diminished scale over some blues. And hopefully you found this video helpful. If you missed a lot of it, just go back, rewatch it. It'll be on forever. And hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Have any ideas for any lives for next week? Any ideas what you'd like me to go over? Any questions about anything? Please let me know in the comment section. I'd love to know. And so it's just really cool. It's just one way to kind of add a little bit of tension and release. Because once you play that scale, like once you play that note right there, the A sharp in an A blues progression, and that's adding tension right there, just that one note alone. Then you have like a leading note that goes right into the 4 chord. Leading it with this one, or that one right there. Or there's an A sharp right there. Oh, you have this. So I'm playing 2 diminished scales, and they're right next to each other. I'm playing this A sharp diminished scale, and I'm playing an A diminished scale. Playing the A sharp diminished from the 1 chord going to the 4, and once I'm on the 4 chord, I'm basically playing the A diminished back into the 1. Then when I play the 5 chord, instead of going to the 4 chord, I'm playing the A diminished again. So really, you can kind of stick around the same area and play the riff either here or play it here, or arpeggios in there. Or here. Now let's see how that works. Let's just switch between them. Let's try it out. See how it goes. Can you tell what? Let's see. Ritesh has a question here. Answer that. Try my best to answer it. Can you tell why is a C chord or any other chords called so? But they're different notes in the chord. I'm not quite sure what this question is. Can you tell why is a C chord or any other chords called so? They're different notes in the chord. Well, in the C chord, every chord basically has, every key has 7 notes in it, and the C is no exception. Right there. C has specific notes in it, as opposed to every other chord, especially the triad in the chord. But I'll try to answer that a little bit more. Be a little bit more specific if you can with your question when you tried to ask. But right now I'm going to finish going through this progression here one more time to go through the diminished that leads to the next chord. So check this out. I'm going to play the regular A sharp diminished right here. Right here. Lean to the 4 chord. Back to the 1. It's the 5 chord. And I'm trying my hardest to resolve on a chord tone from the chord I'm going to. Like when I'm going out of the A and I'm playing the A sharp diminished. So I'm landing on a chord tone from the next chord, from the 4 chord. Either the root or the 3rd or the 5th. I'm trying to pronounce your name. Achilles. Achilles. Love the sexy twang tone. Oh, thank you very much, Achilles. It's a broadcaster. It's a reissue of the 70th anniversary broadcaster. And it's right before the Tele actually came out. It was called the Broadcaster, before they came up with the name of the Telecaster. And before they had the Nocaster on it, was called the Broadcaster. It's the original Tele. But this is a reissue that they came out with in 2020. So it's the 70th anniversary. It came out in 1950. And, I fell in love with it. I was looking for a guitar like this for a while. It has the 50s, very fat neck on it, and single coil pickups in this particular color. So when I saw it in the store, I was like, I had to get it. I wasn't even shopping that day for the guitar, but I had been looking around for quite a while for this particular type of guitar. I didn't know it would be a broadcaster that I would get, but I thought I'm just looking for like a 50s Tele because of the neck. And but when I found this one, I was like, I'm taking it. Because they were kind of hard to get at the time, especially around in 2020. There wasn't a lot of guitars being shipped around, and not as many guitars being made. Let's see. All right, so Rashad. Ritesh, I mean. Pardon me. Let's see. The C notes as any other note, but why that C notation is used as the chord? Why don't we call it a G chord instead? C is a note as any other note, but why that C note is used as for that chord, and why don't we call it a G chord instead? Okay, well, say you have a C chord right here. The way that most people play. I'll put it on this camera right here so you can see a little bit better. Here's a C that, like a cowboy chord C that everyone knows. So the C is the root chord, and the C, a chord basically has a 3rd and a 5th. So you have your C, your 3rd, your 5th, and your root again. And a G chord would be here. Different sound, but the same idea. You have your roots, your 3rd, your 5th, and your octave. So I can actually play it like this, and then bring it up here. So it's the same thing. Right? Now it's not called the G. The G there's actually a G in the C chord. But it's the 5th in the scale. If I was playing up the C major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like here's the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. There's a G note in there. But the G is in the C. The C is the parent. The C is like the foundation of that chord. Of that key. There's 7 notes within the C scale, 7 chords within it as well, and G is one of them. The G major chord is one of them, but it resolves to the C. As you can hear, it says a C, a D minor, an E minor, an F, a G, an A minor, a B half diminished, and all resolves to the C. You do the same thing with G in the key of G. With G, you have an So that's why, because the G is a different key than C. Here's C. Here's G. It's just a lower register. It's the same principle. Same idea. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that answers your question a little bit. You know, if not, just keep asking. I'll get closer and closer to the answer. All right. So hopefully you're enjoying this video so far. If you are, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I actually have a course that I just released, and very proud of it. It's my first ever guitar course. And it looks like this, if you see it anywhere. It's called the Essential Skills Collection. And it's an intermediate course, but it's really like for beginners as well. I have a link right there in my top of my description for it. Basically go through 3 principles, or it's I go through fretboard memorization, so you can kind of memorize the fretboard everywhere. And then that's part 1. Then I have the circle of fifths, which explains basically what I was just explaining to you, Ritesh, how chords work together, just a simple way of understanding some music theory. And then in the third part, I go into playing the blues, and I show some basic examples of different blues progressions. And I feel like the blues is so important to put in there because that's where all the feel and soul comes from in rhythm, so you can kind of put it all together. So check out the course, it's Essential Skills. It's right in the top of my description there, and I appreciate that. And so thank you guys for spending some time with me today. We're going to wrap it up, but I think maybe we'll go through it one more time. Try to really simplify it. So when I come out of the chords, my whole idea is on the 4th beat, the 4th bar. Before I go to the 4th chord, the 4th chord, I'm going to try to play that A sharp diminished scale in there, in this one position. More like that. So right there, then it's like, right, just like that. You play chromatically into it as well. And the 4th chord, the important thing is I want to land on either the root, the 3rd, or the 5th. And then back to the A. Go on the 1 chord, going to the 4 chord. The 4. And then I'm going to play a different diminished chord right over here, which is going to be the same thing, only a half step down. Back to a chord of the A, whether it's the 5th, the 3rd, or the roots. And then to the 5 chord. Instead of going to the 4 chord, I'm going to play this diminished right here, the same scale again as I played here, the A diminished. So there's a half step right there. Hear that? Let's give it a shot. Give another pass at this. Here we go. Thank you so much for hanging out. I think I went a little bit longer than I planned on it. So, how do you define music? Wow, it just comes from the heart, comes from the soul, and it's just a way to express yourself musically. You know, but it's all good, you know. See, songs I wish I could learn. Tremolo picking with different strings, like Dick Dale, yeah. Godfather, yep, that's great stuff too. Doing that tremolo picking. Just gotta practice with a metronome. That's a good idea for a lesson, learning the tremolo picking. Doing it with the songs like The Godfather, Dick Dale. Yeah, excellent. Thank you for bringing that up. Really, really, really cool. You can sit there with a metronome, like tick, 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 and just practice. And then pick it up, the speed a little bit. A little sloppy with it. Lots of ways to do that. All right, but we're going to wrap it up for today, but I'll keep that in mind for the future and tremolo picking. Excellent idea. Thank you very much, Ritesh, for that. And thank you very much, Akilish, for your sweet comment on my twang and broadcaster here. Thank you, David Belcher. And thank you all you guys for spending some time here with me today, Mr. Johnny. And hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave some comments as far as what you'd like me to do next week. Come back and join me again next Sunday at 1 o'clock. I love yous. And check out my course if you get some time. If you want to go a little bit deeper into the blues, I have another video that I'll put right there for you to enjoy. But until then, be cool, be kind, and be cherry. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Take it easy, guys. Peace.